live from STS Studios in Jonesboro, Arkansas. And I have with me, I wanted to say the Skimahorns, but I have one of the Skimahorns, Brad Skimahorn. How the hell are you, Brad?
Man, I'm doing all right. I can't complain, really.
Good deal, good deal. We're going to start out, but because I said this Saturday on Rolling Into Memphis to my co-host there, Ronald JB, I said, those guys are from my neck of the woods. Y'all not far from Jonesboro, are you?
No, sir. We are from Hoxie.
Hoxie, Arkansas, about 20 minutes from Jonesboro. All right, let's start. Here's where I want to start with. Becoming a fan. I know you guys are you're much younger than me, but what made you a fan of professional wrestling?
Man, just seeing Billy Gunn and him calling himself Mr. Ass really just like attracted me to wrestling, and then everything else that came with it, I was just there for.
Now, did you go to the matches, local shows, or did you go to the big shows like WCW and WWE? What did you do as growing up?
There were a few shows that we would go see, like the local shows here in Want Ridge. And then we went to see WWF the night they did Raw in the Convo, where Stone Cold was there and Triple H and Stephanie had their wedding thing.
Oh, wow. Well, that's a hell of a show to be at. Yeah. And you guys growing up right in the Jonesboro area, Walnut Ridge, I've done shows at Walnut Ridge, usually a pretty good crowd. And then growing up in this area, did you find it difficult to find, and we'll talk about your training, someone to help you get into business? Tell me about you approaching somebody and saying, hey, I want to get in the wrestling business.
So, yeah, us getting into the business is really hard to like kind of go about figuring out how to do. So I talked to my dad, and he said he knew some people who booked a show in Hoxie. I'm not going to say the name of the promotion just because, but we went up there. And we had our first training session, and we were lucky that we were there because the guy who trained us saw the potential we had and took us serious and got us out of there pretty quick. So,
well, that's awesome. I mean, you're looking at a lot of promotions, and we talked about this a lot with different wrestlers. And me, I make it a point to say when you are in those places, the smaller places, there's a certain way they work. But you can't get out of that way of working because no one else works any better. There's not better wrestlers, so you can't get better. And then you get bad habits. I know there's a lot of shows that's been running for a long time, but if you sit down in the crowd and watch these shows, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. You're like, hey, how did we start in Hoxie, Arkansas kind of thing? So you two guys started, you and your brother, as did y'all start as a tag team, or were you trained first, or did y'all train together?
Okay, so he's older than me, and when we started wrestling, you had to be 18 to wrestle in the state of Arkansas, and I was only 17. So he started doing shows before I did, and then I wrestled my first match in Union City, Tennessee, until I turned 18. And then when I turned 18, we came and started wrestling in Arkansas and started tagging together.
And I mentioned I had seen y'all downtown Jonesboro doing a show. I've got some video of you guys. Y'all guys were the Mercury brothers. That's what I remembered you as. And when you first started on TV, what my statement was, what the hell's a Skimahorn? But because I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know y'all had changed y'all's name. I knew the Mercury brothers. I knew y'all were friends, or they actually helped y'all get into business a little bit. Idle Bane and also with Austin Lane. Tell me about y'all were what they call white meat babyface with lethal injection pretty much. Every time I seen you guys, y'all had the same kind of trunks on, tights, whatever. And I mean, y'all look totally different. We'll have to put that video up on Twitter, but I got a video. Y'all just look like, babyface. That's all y'all look like. Why? What made you change from, and this is your shoot name. So why did you go from being, the Mercury brothers to changing to your shoot name?
So we were working a match in Indiana with the Carnies. I don't know if you know who they are.
Yeah.
But after the match, they were saying, man, you guys are great. Y'all need something different. Y'all's name, it just ain't catchy. And he asked what our real name was. And I told him Skimahorn. And he just looked at me and said, well, why ain't y'all using that? And I was like, I don't know. So we changed to Skimahorn. It's more unique. Nobody else is going to have that name. So, I think it was a good switch.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. No one's going to have that name. I actually looked because I saw the T-shirts, and then I actually looked online. Was like, I thought maybe it was some kind of animal or something. I really, honestly, did not know it was your shoot name, and I think it's Austin Lane that told me, "Hey, that's their shoot name, dude. That used to be the Mercury Brothers, and that's what they're using." So it is unique, and I agree with you. I like the Mercury Brothers thing, but I don't think it fits with you guys as heels now. With the coming into Championship Wrestling from Memphis, you guys came in and did you? I know you probably didn't, but at what point did you know the belts were going to be around your waist? How many weeks in?
What week are we on now? Going on to 18, I guess?
Yeah, it'll be 18 this week.
I guess I found out the first taping inside the Wrestle Center.
Oh, wow. Yeah, but it's really strange. And we kidded around about this and PMs about it, that I have y'all on as soon as you win the titles. I have this big thing. Everything's got to change in 12 weeks, and it changed. It's like me and Dustin's in cahoots with each other. But when you first came on, a lot of losing, but it was building y'all's character. Did y'all say, "Hey, we're gonna tough it out, and we're gonna have a fun time with this"?
Yeah, they book us there to go do the job, so I'm going to go do my job to my best of my ability, no matter what it is. So,
I mean, and that's what you guys did. I mean, you've been listening to the podcast. You know how all of a sudden y'all started growing on me because y'all were having. I was not seeing that you two guys are good, solid workers, can have a good match with almost anybody, which means a lot when it comes to being on TV. And I think, was there a nervousness there? I seen the nervousness from a lot of people, but do you think the first set of tapings or second set of tapings, all of y'all was a little shell shocked that y'all were going to be on TV?
I think subconsciously, yeah, a little bit. But I don't think it just registered in my head that, hey, this is TV, until I went out in front of the camera and it was right there in my face, and everything was just so much different from a normal indie show.
Right. Especially with time, you got a certain amount of time, and I'm always about get your stuff in, for that 7 minutes, and don't go into rest holds or anything like that. Hey man, we're gonna take a quick commercial break. If you're watching this on my Facebook page or on Twitter, we will go off there. You can only watch the full show on STSPOD Facebook page, and we'll be right back. All right, back from commercial. We want to thank our sponsors, and as you're watching this show, all live feeds are they are sponsored by, in the corner there at manscaped.com, STSPOD. I want to remind everyone, Rolling into Mempo is our next show, which is coming Saturday, and every Saturday. Make sure you listen to Rolling into Mempo, and we're going to have details on July 4th weekend, and also coming in July, we have the Super Summer Sizzler Shiznit giveaway. So we always give away stuff to our Patreon members, and we're going to start a new contest. Let's talk about Saturday night going in, doing a triple threat. Do you feel like it's harder to actually get a triple threat, get a good match out of a triple threat than just
100%. 100%.
Knowing when to throw the guy out the ring, and just, you almost have to work so that you can have two men in the ring at the same time, and then when to tag. Y'all actually did just two people at a time, right?
It was actually tornado rules, so it made it even harder.
Yeah. Because you're gonna have to you have to shit can somebody so you can actually have a match of any kind in the ring. And Simon wasn't there, and then y'all had. I've got to ask you about this. how did Uncle Mikey become part of the Skimahorns? Because I know Uncle Mikey, as with Roscoe Eat Lisa. Hell of a tag team there. They've been all over the area, in the Illinois area, in St. Louis. So how did all of a sudden he becomes part of y'all?
Okay, so in October of 2018, we hopped in the car with Mikey, and we just been every weekend with him since 2018. So we've got a bond. He's one of our brothers. And I was like, man, the original plan was we were going to have a dad, but the dad no-showed. So I was like, why can't we just have Uncle Mikey? And Dustin loved that idea. So that's where that came from.
Solid guy. We ain't seen him a lot in the ring, but he's a really solid worker. And it'll be fun he did lead to y'all winning the other night, right? Y'all put him right in the middle of it.
Yes, sir. He sure did, actually.
Yeah. So we got him being able to fill out the, kind of the heel manager part, but he is, guys, if y'all haven't seen him, you can actually just do YouTube, Roscoe Eat Lisa. There's a good match between you two guys, and them two in EPW. Now, how do you get from Hoxie? Because I know y'all got a big match, so it's coming up this Thursday night. How do you get from working just these? And I want you to tell how you do that, because there's a lot of guys that get stuck right here and never go anywhere and do anything. But how did you get, you're in Illinois, y'all got a dog collar match, which should be fun as hell. Believe it or not, I wrestled a 65-year-old guy in a dog collar match one time. So how did you get to working with them guys in that area? Just because you know Mikey?
That's part of it, because we're friends with Mikey. But if I could, to any wrestler who's wanting to get out of their home base, just go show up at other shows. If you're not booked, help set up the ring, because promoters see that, and that's how we got booked on half the shows we get booked on, is we just show up and we help out and the promoter sees it. That's really all, that's the easiest way to do it, is just show up at shows.
And it's one of those things that you can't get better until you work guys that are better. So that helps out a lot. So you're in Illinois, and you just kind of get in the car and go, and now you're ended up doing shows over there. So tell me, how long have y'all guys been doing it? Have you been tagging together or been working?
We've been tagging and working together for going on 8 years.
Oh, geez. So When do you think, because y'all had a hell of a match against the Young Goats and put together good psychology, the hot tag, boom, 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 and then you did something else, and then you did some more moves, and then, it was perfect psychology. When do you think, and I'm saying this because some people will not understand what the hell we're talking about, but when it comes to learning the psychology of the tag team and when to do all that stuff, when did it start, when did a big light go off in your head to say, oh, I see what they're doing. How do we do this? How do we do that? And then, when did you decide, I know what I'm doing now as a tag team wrestler?
Man, honestly, believe it or not, it happened probably last year, in the pandemic, because we had a lot of downtime. We went from being on the road every weekend to not being on the road at all. So I just had time to watch and think about stuff. And then when we got back in the ring, it just felt different. Like the light bulb went off in my head, and Briar's too, because I feel like we're better now. Psychology wise, in the ring, I just think that it took that. I just think it took the experience, from everybody who's helped us out along the way to get to that moment to where the light bulb came on.
It is one of those things that you can't. It's hard to say. You could teach it, but then what you do with it, I can tell you, and I've talked to Austin Lane about this. I can tell you how to do a basic psychology match, but after the hot tag and the near falls and all of that, plus you're on TV now, to get a good match and do all that you're supposed to do. I like it that you didn't say, oh, I knew how to do it as soon as I started wrestling. And so did you just start studying every damn tag team match you could find? Because that's what I did when I realized I know what psychology is.
Yeah, so all the, I'll study any match I can find, like, study the heels and the baby faces to get what they're both doing and to see why they're doing it. Because, a lot of these people these days are just going out there and doing spot and not selling or letting anything register. And it just don't make sense. And I just want every match we have to make sense and mean something to the fans.
Right. And I love spot, but, let the babyface get the shine, spot, and then let y'all do spot. You know what I'm saying? There still should be some kind of psychology in that, is what I always think. So I'm going to ask you, I always ask people for the first time they're on the show, growing up as a fan, when did you start deciding, hey, this is not on the up and up, there's a work, or at what age did you think, oh, I know what's going on?
I'd say probably 11 or 12, because maybe even sooner than that. I really don't remember, because my parents told me at a young age, because I put a kid in the ankle lock on the playground one day, and my dad told me if I ever did that again, wrestling wouldn't ever be in my life again. So I was like, well, okay.
I know I did a speech. I had to do a speech in high school, and it was how to do wrestling moves. And I just beat the hell out of some guy in my classroom. So, but yeah, I think that's when you grow up being a fan and you continue. This is something kind of weird to say, but I have found that most guys that grow up to be wrestling fans like me, I don't know, they just become better workers because they want to learn. Guys that are not wrestling fans that just want to, show their body or make some money, they're usually just not as good of wrestlers. So who's some of the tag teams give me some of the tag teams that you study, big names maybe that you sit and watch when they make the hot tag, when they do the shine, when they do the heat, so forth.
Okay, so my favorite tag team ever is Matt and Jeff Hardy. Love them. They're great. I like the Motor City Machine Guns.
Oh, wow, yeah. Beer
Money was really good. Rock and Roll Express are awesome. The Midnight Express is great. I just, the Four Horsemen, I just like watching tag team wrestling. It don't matter what tag team it is.
No, they always, they give me hell on here. I say it a million times since we started the podcast. I'm a big tag team mark, and I spent, as soon as I think the light bulb went off in my head, I was spending so much time like, why do that? Why is the good guys getting so much shine at the beginning? But sometimes you have to do that because the heel's going over and just things like that. There's something that y'all did, and you kind of answered this earlier, but there's something y'all guys did when in the progression of your character and everything is the Skimahorn thing. And I want to pat you guys on the back for that, because a lot of guys do not understand that just those little things like that, the little bit of comedy, is going to help get you over. And I mean, was it one of those things is I don't really want to do this, I hate being called a Skimahorn, or was it just tell me what to do, I want to do it kind of thing?
So honestly, when we did that promo where we beat up Dreadhead Kev and the posse came in and found him, Simon is the one who came up with that on the spot. He called us the Skimahorns. And then it just kind of stuck. And then they made the T-shirt. And then, I like it. I think it's helped us get over. It gives the fans something to chant at us. I think that has helped us out immensely with the TV show. So I'm for it. If people can find something that helps them out like that, I'm all for it.
I mean, that's the way I look at it is, what can you contribute to help the TV show? With that, it's one of those things where some people might not have got it, but you know what? With all the whole storyline, you just told me, you said, oh, it was just a mistake. It usually is when you come up with something like that. I don't know if you remember, Psycho wrestled in this area. His baby doll, Katie, was my idea. Katie is my oldest daughter's name, and we're driving back one night from a show, and I said, you know what you need? You need a baby doll, and I got the perfect one. She's got one arm missing, and Katie had wrote her name on it. Legit wrote her name on it. So them little things like that you come up with to help you. And here's the funny thing. As heels, y'all were called Skimahorns. Y'all went all the way through, and now y'all are champs. So now you can say, what? You called us what? We're champions now. So, by the way, those are some smooth-looking belts.
Oh man, the most beautiful tag team belts I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, I mean, it's just Dustin spent a lot of time with that in the Heritage Belt and making a belt that we can, even as fans and whatever, be proud to say, oh, that's a nice looking belt. All right, so sometimes we have a little extra time. I like to ask this question. This is from my co-host Lance Levine. Always likes to ask his guests, "What's your favorite junk food?"
Oh man, McDonald's probably.
McDonald's, favorite junk food. I don't blame you. I like McDonald's stuff. He does a tournament of junk every year, and he just likes to know what the wrestlers what's their favorite junk food. Is that the place you go when you're on the road?
We try to switch it up on the road. If we're in the Nashville area, we eat at a place called Cookout. I don't know if you've ever been there, but it's.
I haven't been at Cookout. We always did Huddle House or Waffle House. And that because it was the only place open, and then there was always a Perkins somewhere in an IHOP. That was always the restaurants that were always open that we spent a lot of time in, just eating junk after we spent the money that we made, kind of thing. I want you to go ahead and tell everybody real quick before we finish up. I want you to put your social media over, but I want you to tell about Thursday. Where is that show at, and how can they? Where do they go? Is this a Madman Pondo card?
Okay, so I don't know how kayfabe this is, but
no, there's no kayfabe. So go ahead.
One of the Roscoe Lisa guys is the booker of the show, and it's not
okay. All right, cool.
So they're booking the Madman Pondo's birthday bash. It's in Anna, Illinois, at Quick Skating Rink. The show starts at 7 p.m. Man, if y'all like hardcore wrestling, if you like old school ECW, this is the show for you because it gives off that ECW vibe, man. They brought in New Jack, they brought in Super Crazy. We wrestled Super Crazy when they brought him in,
Wow. Yeah. That's one of those things where you get to. So it's a little bit different, a little bit more hardcore than what we're doing in Memphis, and I'm excited. Shoot, man, we'll put over everything just so as you guys can have a place to work. That's what I know the last question I want to ask you, and then y'all let you put over your stuff. You just talked about working some of the quote unquote stars. You guys have been up and down the road for a while. Have you ever had one of those stars be just a total asshole to you?
Yes, we have. Jerry Lawler.
Oh, wow. Really? The King didn't want to work the Skimahorns?
Well, it wasn't that he, we were doing a show at the Earl Bell Community Center, and
right.
We were wrestling Beer 30, and Jerry walked past us, and he just said, I want y'all to go 8 minutes. And, we were green. We'd only been wrestling for probably 2 years at the time. And we might have went 22 minutes, here, and Jerry wasn't happy about it. Granted, I get it. He cussed us that night, and we learned our lesson, and now we don't go over on our time. So,
yeah, that's the time thing is a big deal too. Actually, with television too, that has to be one of the hardest things. For you guys just learning TV is the actuality of having 12 minutes. And when is that 12 minutes? So what are we going to do before that 12? It's a lot harder than people really know because you're used to working a house show where y'all can pretty much go as long as you want to. Or as they say here in the South, as you ought to. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, put over your social media. How can everyone follow you? You one of the champions. So how do they follow one of the Memphis Tag Team Champions?
You can follow me on Instagram at @BradSkimahorn, and I'm on Facebook and Twitter at Brad Skimahorn. You can follow Briar. You can add him on Facebook at Briar Skimahorn, and his Twitter and Instagram is Italian_baloney.
Right on. We'll try to get Briar on here and talk to him sometime in the future, and maybe Uncle Mickey. I want to thank everyone for joining us today. Same bad time, same bad channel on the best little wrestling podcast in the business. Be there. And as Brad knows and everyone else knows, I love my mama.
Me too.